I never seen a chapter have people in this much distress before. I never seen this much people supposedly know how to read Japanese, and so many people are translators now. So many people are seeing the written words and saying, "Yeah, guys, it doesn't really mean this. Oh my god, this guy said that, so it doesn't really mean that. Oh my god, Scopper Gaban is capping the giant. I don't believe them." Yeah, you guys are some losers, but hey guys, the chapter just came out. I only seen a few panels, but I haven't actually read the full thing. The proper chapter with proper translations, TCB, is now out, and we're going to read that. And you know what's crazy? The semantics and specific wording is very important in this chapter, and that's what has people in distress, because we already know if you read the spoilers, and I already did. So let's just get into the cover page real quick. So the cover page is Who's Who, and he has seemingly page 1 and Ulti on the ground. Katakuri versus Ulti talk should be dead right now, because if Katakuri, Who's Who did this, then that obviously means he's stronger than Ulti. And yeah, so Jinbei be Who's Who, and just, you guys know what I mean. Like, all right, so the chapter starts with the gang inside the castle, and they're looking for Loki's key. And while they're looking for Loki's key, they stumble upon like the magic circle that Saturn had and all the Gorosei had when they first got introduced and summoned to Egghead Island. Obviously this is here because Shamrock and Gunko pulled up and left that little circle ring for their demonic entrance. And these guys start talking about, hey, yo, demons used to do this shit in books and all this fuckery. It's like a magic circle. And Luffy says he saw this recently, but he can't obviously tell or like pinpoint what exactly it was because Luffy's an idiot. And while these guys are talking about it, they hear a mysterious voice say Straw Hat Luffy. And then you see the guy say, "I've been wanting to meet you, Straw Hat Luffy." And then Road, who has Luffy and Nami and Zoro on his hands, ends up running away. And then you see a giant axe get thrown across the room and almost hit Road. And you know what's crazy about this? The fact that he was able to throw a giant-sized axe that's bigger than Luffy, Nami. It's obviously a giant axe, and he was able to just throw it across the room, which is pretty ridiculous. But we obviously know who this is, and it's Scopper Gaban. And this character design is getting trolled, which is kind of funny, but it's nothing to really laugh at because the guy is severely old. I think he's pushing 80. He might even be 80. We know Rayleigh was like 78 years old, 76. I expect an 80-year-old man to look like this. They can't all look like Rayleigh. They can't all look like who's a good-looking 80-year-old man. I don't know, but this guy had a lot of hair. He just has a lot of wrinkles. His face is messed up. He looks like a typical 80-year-old man. Like, we got blessed with people like Rayleigh and stuff. Like, this is what they look like. So I don't know. He's obviously not someone who looks like he's super insanely demonic and has an aura, but he bagged Ripley, and we all know the whole thing going around with Ripley. Everybody loves her. He bagged it, so you can't really say nothing about it. So Scopper Gaban says he felt a strange surge of haki coming from here earlier, and he's obviously referring to Shamrock and Gunko's appearance, because as we know, when these guys land on the island or when they teleport, they have this crazy haki around them. What's strange about this is that he's the only guy that noticed this haki, and we never seen Luffy or anybody even mention this, and I don't know if there's a specific reason for that. There probably isn't, so this could technically be viewed as somewhat of an observation haki thing. Maybe his is just developed super good, that's why he sensed it, or maybe there's some reason that Luffy couldn't sense it, but I think this is just showing Scopper Gaban is really good with observation haki. Scopper then says, "Looks like I missed whatever caused it, but I'm glad I found you instead," and he's referring to Luffy. "I've heard rumors about you, Straw Hat Luffy. They say you defeated Kaido. It's been ages since I've been to Wano. I'd love to go again. If you only have half a brain, if you only do." You interpreted this as Scopper Gaban is weaker than Kaido because he was scared to go to Wano while he was there. Now, for one, you're an idiot. For two, later in this chapter, that literally gets debunked because he challenges Luffy, who he knows defeated Kaido, so that doesn't even make sense. Number three, why would he want to go while Kaido was ruling it? And even if he went when Kaido was ruling it, who is this guy? Is he Superman? Is he like the hero of the world? Is he gonna go fight a Yonko at his old ass age? People just don't do that. Why didn't Rayleigh go to Marineford to go fight? Why? What are we talking about right now? And on top of that, why would he go in there solo dolo against Kaido and his army? And like I said, this gets disproven later on, so it doesn't even matter. Alright, so Scopper Gaban lets us know that he is the father of Colin and Ripley is his wife. He then tells them that marrying giants doesn't make sense because he's the only one getting old. There's this whole like connection between what Ripley said about her age and Scopper, and like it kind of makes it seem like something weird's going on with Elbaf regarding to time, but that's a whole different discussion. Yeah, so Scopper jumps down saying love knows no bound, and then he jumps out saying I'm the missionary of love. And when he says that, he strikes an Odin pose, and Luffy says, I bet Sanji ends up like him when he's older. So when we see Luffy say this about Scopper, obviously we know this is Sanji's parallel, because the Roger Pirates have their own parallels with other crew members, specifically the Monster Trio, Luffy, Roger, Rayleigh, and Zoro. This guy is a lover, he's the missionary of love, and there's other statements that we will talk about confirming that Sanji is this guy's parallel. And we know for a fact that Sanji should be stronger than whatever this guy's prime was, whether it's a good amount, whether it's by a little bit, whether it's by a lot, it's up to your interpretation. Anyways, Luffy ends up telling Scopper Gaban that he's looking for the key to free Loki. And then Scopper Gaban starts chatting about, hey, interesting, I love troublemakers, and just starts talking bullshit. And then he tells Luffy, do you know what would happen if you free Loki? What would happen if things go south? What would you do? And Luffy says he will beat up Loki and lock him up. Now we get some information on red hair. Whoa, I swear to God, I did not mean to actually make a joke there. We get information on Red Hair Shanks. He says the one who locked him up before was none other than Red Hair Shanks. Until that point, no one was able to stop him. Once again, if you only have half a brain, if you only do, you're saying Scopper is so shit, he couldn't stop Loki. Oh my god, he couldn't beat Loki, he's so weak. Do you guys see what I'm looking at right now? Just look at this guy. The same people that are making fun of his appearance, saying he didn't age well and he looks like shit. You expect a guy like this to stop Loki? That just shows you're underestimating Loki. With all the hype he's getting and what we know about him, you cannot expect Loki to beat a non-top tier. He's literally a top tier. So saying a washed old man like Gaban can't beat him and somehow discrediting him is completely stupid. I swear Shanks even became a Yonko off beating someone like Loki, so how does that even make sense? Scopper tries to scold him about, you cannot free Loki. Do you know the kind of power Loki wields? If there's even a slight chance of him running amok, have you thought about the casualties? And these guys, Zoro and the friggin' Luffy, end up just walking away saying, this key's not gonna find itself. This old man is just yapping. We don't even want to discuss this shit with him no more. Let's just go look for it. And they're just basically ignoring him and walking away looking for danger, looking to free Loki. And then Scopper's looking at both Luffy and Zoro and gets a flashback of him and Rayleigh with Roger. Roger's basically saying, I'm sick of all your warnings. Are you guys scared? And Roger right here is showing his carelessness and his fearlessness, and he doesn't care about all the warnings, exactly how Scopper is trying to warn Luffy and Zoro. And then Scopper, Gaban, and Roger end up fighting because Scopper is just trying to warn him, same as Rayleigh trying to warn Roger. Scopper sees Roger's personality within Luffy and Zoro, and it's kind of a good moment. Now, they end up moving the throne, and they end up going down somewhere. And this is when the Scopper Gaban hype gets kind of crazier. We cut to the other side of Elbaf, where all the other Straw Hats are Sanji, Usopp, and they're just chilling with these Straw Hats. Then they start dropping some Roger pirate lore. They say, did you know there were 2 other monstrous fighters on the crew besides Roger? Now, you guys gotta look at this and just look at it outside the box and not just for what it was. They're correlating Rayleigh and Scopper together. Usopp says it wasn't just Rayleigh. That's right. And now we get to a story about Scopper. One time when Captain Roger needed to recuperate, that man accompanied him to a hospital deep within the mountains. Unfortunately, enemy pirates surrounded the hospital trying to capture them. But that one man, armed with nothing but his 2 axes, fought off hundreds of them all by himself. Usopp's yelling, one man with 2 axes! And that's not even the craziest part. When the battle was over, not a single tree was left standing. He stripped the entire mountain bare. That's how he got the name Mountain Eater. Now, this guy could also be the guy marked by flames based off what we see in this chapter with his image, and for why Kid wanted to go to Elbaf. But that Mount Eater name is kind of strange, I'm not gonna lie, it doesn't give off the same aura as the other guys, but hey, he's a mountain eater, and people are saying this also has correlations to his girl, so I don't know, man. Jimmy says everyone knows that tale, so hey, come on, Scopper got some clout. The next thing that's said right here is what has people in disarray and anger. They said he rivaled Vice Captain Silver's Rayleigh and was known as the left hand of the Pirate King. Now, first of all, left hand and right hand is a legitimate thing in the One Piece verse now. You guys cannot say there's only right hand and left hand is just some propaganda Sanji fans made. No, man, Sanji's a left hand to Luffy, and you just have to just accept that. It sucks, I know you don't like that. You just want the right hand title for Zoro. Nah, man, we're here. We made a statement today. He rivaled Vice Captain Silver's Rayleigh. Now, if you guys want to dissect everything that happens for this specific chapter and everything said in Japanese to the T, because you cannot just let this go by, you are a sick person. They're trying to hype up his strength this entire chapter. They're literally telling a story about his strength. Oda is trying to hype up this guy so that when he fights Luffy in the next chapter, it's kind of believable that he doesn't get one shot and can hold his own. And people are saying this specific line right here isn't even translated right. It doesn't even say he rivals Super Rayleigh. It says he stood next to Rayleigh, or he stood shoulder to shoulder to Rayleigh, which I'm not gonna lie to you guys, doesn't make sense to me personally, because they already said that later on in the chapter with Roger. Because if you're fighting alongside the Pirate King and Rayleigh, specifically the Pirate King, fighting alongside him is something noteworthy because that's a legend. Why would they repeat that same phrase in the beginning of the chapter minus Roger, but specifically with Rayleigh? They already said in that chapter he stood shoulder to shoulder with Rayleigh and Roger. Why would you just exclude Roger and say the same thing just with Rayleigh? That's not as hype. Just say Roger twice then. Yeah, guys, the guy that just destroyed all that mountain, fought all those pirates, did all that crazy shit, became the Mountain Eater, he stood shoulder to shoulder with Rayleigh. What kind of what kind of compare, what do you, is that supposed to make him sound like he's more hyped? Like what? Yeah, Scopper rivaled Rayleigh. He's not stronger than Rayleigh. He's just on Rayleigh's level, and it is what it is, guys. Like, I'm sorry. Like, I don't know what to tell you, but you see this, right? I see it too. So yeah, Scopper Gaban is on that level of Rayleigh, and how strong you think Rayleigh is up to you, but I think he's pretty strong. So now people are trying to hype him up by saying, oh, he's as famous as Rayleigh, he's as notorious as Rayleigh. It doesn't mean he rivals his strength, but like, guys, does that even make sense? In this chapter, Usopp didn't even know who Scopper Gaban was, but he knew who Rayleigh was. What are we talking about? He's trying to hype up Scopper's strength in the context of this chapter. Why would you rather think he's hyping up his fame rather than his strength? Guys, come on. We see the key on like some type of box, and then Luffy tries to go for it, and then Scopper Gaban takes off his hat and says, in other words, even the bad guys don't want Loki freed. And now we get revealed that Scopper Gaban has been living on Elbaf for 20 years. Now, while he's undressing and going for this key, they say the living legend who stood shoulder to shoulder with Roger and Rayleigh, Pirate King's left hand, Scopper Gaban. Now we see him say, if you want this, you will have to get past me. Now, these are the two statements I want to point out. You got compared to Rayleigh, it sucks, but it's just what it is for you guys. Scopper Gaban is like that. Scopper Gaban rivaled Rayleigh, and they had that kind of relationship. They were like the two guys that were always together. They were always talking shit. Even I think Roger called them his two best men. He was also grouped with Rayleigh to be said they're both stronger than the entire crew, like by a good amount. And now we know he's about to fight Luffy, who is strong as hell, who's stronger than most people in the series right now, Yonko. We know Oda in the past said he respects old people and loves to show them as strong. Now, he spent the whole chapter hyping up his strength. He wants to make it kind of believable that he's able to at least fight Luffy to some degree. Now, if he does that, he's gonna look very, very strong. Because you can't just fight Luffy and not get something out of it, because we know what Luffy is. He's a Yonko who's one of the strongest characters, and personally, he might even be in my top 5 right now. And Gaban is not even in his prime. And if this old man does something, you know what that means for Sanji. Sanji, at minimum, is gonna be stronger than Prime Rayleigh. His relevance to Zoro just got better. I'm not saying he's gonna be stronger or equal than Zoro in the future. Never gonna say that, but the whole Sanji will never be close to Zoro shit just doesn't seem like it's gonna happen now. Sanji is most definitely going to be a top tier in the series. None of this he will almost be Admiral level in the future, like none of that bullshit. But yeah, guys, that's it. Make sure you guys take the time to leave a like, subscribe. This was fun to record. You know that people are angry. You know that people are going crazy, but expect another video on this because it's going to be pretty funny. Yeah, guys, take care. Peace. Catch you guys next time.